And it's
Cool.
like, some right faff, but we'll chat about that another time. Um, are you ready to roll?
Yes. Are you ready to roll?
I am. I've got coffee. I'm good.
I've got a lovely water.
Oh, you and your lack of hot beverages. Why do I
Drink tea
even
sometimes.
let you on the show, Jack? It's been 3 years since you were last on this show.
Has it really been 3 years?
Yeah. Okay. So I did a check because I was like,
Okay.
I was trying
Because
to
you knew
figure.
I'd ask.
Well, look, I was trying to figure out how. I was trying to figure out if you'd been on more than once.
Okay.
And I was
No.
like, in my head, I was certain we'd done more than one, and I think it was because we intended to do one when you
We
came
kept
for my
talking about it.
birthday,
Yeah.
and then we were hungover.
Yeah.
Um, and I was like, right, okay, I'll check. So I looked it up, and it was May 2017.
So, well, yeah, 3 years, yeah.
Yeah, it was 3 years, and you were the first guest I had on the podcast.
Really?
Yeah, you were the first person I had on the podcast. It was you, and then it was Dan Wilcox, and ours was the
I
first
thought
one.
Dan was before me for some reason, but
No,
well, I feel special now.
you are special, man. You were like
Yeah.
the first person who was willing to sit down and chat to me. You
I set
essentially
the standards, and
you
what has
did.
that done for you?
I mean, essentially I figured out the format in that episode because like if you recall, I had no idea what I was going to do,
Hmm.
and then
Do you know?
no, like it's still like it's pretty open as a show, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
That's the beauty of it.
and I remember like it went really well. We it was topic jumping, and we
Yep.
jumped from topic to topic.
Yeah.
And then when I watched the video back and I turned it black and white, and we gradually just disappear throughout the entire video because the lighting just drops like so much through the entire thing.
Well, now I'm like Ridley Scott backlit.
Yeah, you're
So
backlit now. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm doing slightly better. I've got a nice little fade going.
I
If I
could
lean
sit
forward, I get
further
blended in.
back.
It's like a mirror image. But I've been trying expending like how to record these as well. So I did one last week with Brett and Charlotte because this seems to be the way. Like I was doing really well. I had like brand new guests throughout the start of the year, and then everyone into lockdown. And then since then, I've only had guests who I've had on previously. So I had Matt. I recorded a Zoom with Matt. Brett and Charlotte, I had them sat outside my window.
Oh, brilliant.
And
Okay, that's
I
pretty
put
good.
a mic outside my window, and they sat in my back garden, and we did one through the window, like
That's
proper
lovely.
screen protected. Yeah,
Well, no, I mean, I guess if you had loads of people on twice, and now you've had me on twice, this should be the last one.
it could
You
be.
bookended the whole thing.
Just end it. No, might as well.
Well,
You know.
maybe I'll make it my goal to say something, which means you have to make this the last one by ruining your professional career.
I mean, it's been like what? So this would be like episode 123.
That's a lot. 1, 2, 3. Look at that.
3, yeah. And I was like, I look at other podcasts and I see how many episodes they've done. And I try to figure out where they took off. So like
Okay.
one of the podcasts I look at is Last Podcast on the Left.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gone back through theirs because I like going back and viewing like all their serial killer stuff. And recently went back to as far as I could go back on Spotify, which is like episode 140 or something like that.
Wow.
And now, yeah, like they're on like episode 600 or something stupid now because they do one like every week, and they've
Yeah.
never stopped. And then they do side stories as well, and it's just like a load of extra stuff. And it's really cool to see how theirs kind of modified as it went on, like because they script theirs. So they they got better at writing scripts. They got better at like doing little bits and bobs. And I look at mine, and mine's pretty much the same.
Do you think there will come a turning point where you have like some kind of revelation, and then it'll be all over Spotify? And
I honestly don't know. I feel like this is
hard to predict, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like this is a very niche podcast.
Yeah, but that was always the intention, right? Like,
Yeah,
I mean, you're literally talking to people you know. Well, not always, but
I like it the way I think of it, and I think what a couple of people have said to me is I think of it as like it's almost like you're like earwigging on someone else's conversation It doesn't matter who they're talking to.
Yeah. What I like about it is it represents. This is going to sound weird because I am a straight white male in his early 30s, but it represents a demographic more in terms of like my personal experiences and like economic background and stuff. It represents people that I relate to a lot, partially because I know some of them, and I get to hear. So it represents a demographic that I don't actually get to hear from that often, if that makes sense. Weirdly enough, in the podcast sphere, anyway. Like
in my head,
I listen to lots of things.
This is the working man's podcast.
I also wouldn't quite go that far. But it is like, it's people that I can relate to. I mean, it doesn't hurt that half it's like people that have working experiences that have been similar to mine due to how we know each other and stuff. So, but and it's a place, you speak to a lot of people from a city that I used to live in. Also helps. But I think the age and sort of the political background of people and the economic background, which is something that I don't get to hear from actually that often.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things. Like I always like the idea of it because let's say like I like it. The way I kind of envision it is like, especially when it's like the 2-person setup, it's like it's either 2 friends meeting or it's 2 strangers meeting, and you just sat watching that conversation. So it's almost like you're in that conversation, but you're just not making any comments about it. Which is but I realised that it's a podcast format that's quite niche.
That is true, but I quite like your solo ones as well because like they can get quite introspective, and it's quite refreshing to hear the inner workings of someone. You don't get to hear it that often. You realise when you listen to it, you're like, oh, I don't know if like things do get that personal that often. So I've enjoyed a lot of those as well. Okay. Some of them I fucking hate, Graham. So this is a joke. It's a joke.
I feel like, especially there's been like a real range with the type of people who listen to it since we started. Just being like, there's people who listen to the solo ones, and there's people who listen to the guests.
Okay.
It's very rare I find someone who listens to everything.
Okay.
Because it is, which I can appreciate.
Quite different.
Yeah, like my brother's a great example. He's like, I don't listen to your solo podcasts because it's just you rambling for 30 minutes and you don't really have an end point. And I was like, yes, that's exactly what I'm going for, man. Don't worry about it. But he'll listen to the guest ones because it's like, it's interesting, like random people. It's been
maybe you should branch them off into 2 separate things.
I mean, they kind of are.
Yelling at concrete guests. Yelling at concrete after dark.
Yes, that's so weird. So the last episode I recorded about Charlotte is called the Late Show with Graham.
Brilliant.
I just like causing discussion and stuff.
Are you still enjoying it?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess so because you're doing it, but
yeah. I mean, you know what I'm like. If I have a project, if I stop enjoying it, I'll stop doing it. Same with anything I do. Same with like the daily streams I've been doing during lockdown. Doing a drawing every day, sitting and chatting to people. It's like it gives people that outlet, which is what I wanted to give them, so they can get like kind of a bit of escape from isolation and 30 minutes just to chill. But yeah, if it became a hassle, if it became something which I was resenting doing, then I'd call it a day.
Yeah,
which I think that's true of anything you do. I think if you get to a point where you're turning up every day and you hate it, that's when you need to move on.
Yep, and relate.
Yeah,
have related.
Yeah, that's life, isn't it? You don't turn up every day.
To recognize that, though.
Yeah, I think it takes a lot to recognize that, though.
So I say, yeah. Some people just depends on what you're doing as well. It's harder to do when it's a thing that pays your bills.
Well, yeah, that's some people are trapped in it, in life and obligations and things like that.
But when it comes to podcasts that you're doing for shits and gigs, it's a bit easier.
Yeah, I think. I mean, at times I've thought about changing format.
Yeah,
and then I'm like, nah.
Yeah,
let's go down in flames a little bit. But
well, I mean, if you're enjoying it, then I think seeing as you're the person who has to be there every time, that's probably the key thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit down and like it. I would hate for it to become this thing where like You know, like when you have like TV shows and they get guests, and essentially the hosts don't decide the guests.
Yeah.
Like they're given a guest and be like, you're going to talk to this guy for 20 minutes. You know,
Yeah.
I'd hate that because it'd be
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm essentially just your puppet now.
Mm.
Whereas because I decide the guests and the guests decide the topic, I can take that topic wherever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
Speaking
As
of,
we did last time.
yeah, like we topic junked a lot last time.
We did, yeah.
Well, you suggested a topic this time.
When pressed to do so, I was hoping that it wouldn't happen again.
I love
I was
that
like,
when,
go on.
I love that when I gave you a topic, it was almost like there was a panic in your head, and you you said the first word which came to your mind,
yeah,
which was ghosts.
Which was ghosts. So, I say ghosts a lot because I think it's a good answer to most things.
Oh, that's like me in Spain.
It's what? Do you say Spain a lot?
Yeah. So if someone asks you for a quiz answer,
Spain.
90% of the time it's going to be Spain.
Oh, okay.
That's my theory.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you like talking about Spain though? Do you have an interest in Spain?
I know nothing about Spain.
Just say Spain.
If you were at a pub quiz and someone was like, there was a battle in 1964, where did it happen? Probably Spain. There was a constitution written in the 1800s. Where was it written? Spain. Where's this guy from? Spain. Everyone's from Spain.
That's fair enough. Yeah, that's good. I don't know. Well, yeah, I probably do use ghosts like that. Although they also fascinate me. Okay, so have we talked about ghosts much before? Because I talk to people about ghosts a lot. So after I said it, I was like, well, we've probably covered this topic anyway in general conversation.
I honestly don't think we do. I don't discuss ghosts a lot. I discuss ghosts. Me and Matt have discussed ghosts.
Yeah.
Because he has a theory.
On here? This should become a ghost podcast.
It could be a ghost. I mean, I've done serial killer podcast recently, which was with Arena. We discussed serial killers in The Sims. But it was a good combination. That was
what does Matt think about ghosts? What's his theory?
Matt has a theory about ghosts, which I think I've mentioned on the podcast before. But his theory is that ghosts are solar powered.
Okay.
Which is why you don't see them in the daylight, because they're recharging and they're invisible and they're made of light. So they recharge in the day, and then at night they glow, which is why you see them. And it's also the only way they can keep going, because energy can't be destroyed. It has to come from somewhere, so therefore they're solar powered.
That's as good a theory as any.
That's his solid theory. But yeah, in terms of ghosts, I don't really.
We've not discussed ghosts.
No.
Oh.
I mean, so yeah. Do you believe in ghosts?
No.
No, I don't believe in ghosts.
Okay, but what I do believe. So my favorite thing about ghosts is that ghosts unequivocally aren't real. They don't exist. They can't exist. But people are scared of them, which is fascinating. Like, how badass are ghosts that they don't even have to exist, and they exert more influence and power than I ever could hope to in my whole entire life.
So your hope for your entire life is to scare people?
Not necessarily, but the influence I'm not going to have TV shows where, what was her name? Yvette Fielding runs around old asylums listening to me tapping on walls and stuff, you know? But there's a whole, that's an industry built up around something that literally doesn't exist.
Okay, I'll play devil's advocate slightly.
Go on.
Why can they never exist?
They don't. It's.
This is the thing. You're saying it's impossible, and I just give you a theory about how ghosts could exist.
You're right, and as I said it, I was like, I shouldn't have said that, because now I'm going to get picked up on the fact that ghosts exist. So I should quantify it by saying that I don't believe that ghosts can exist.
Okay.
Okay, sure, maybe they could. I don't know enough about anything to say why they definitely couldn't exist, but I mean, why don't you believe in ghosts? Because they don't exist, right?
I don't believe in ghosts, but I feel... So my theory of ghosts is that I don't believe in ghosts because I don't believe in a soul.
Okay.
And most ghosts, or most theories about ghosts are about, like, stuff not dying and stuff not passing on. But I also think energy can be destroyed and eaten in other ways. Like, I don't know how to prove it, but... Essentially, like my whole view is I don't believe in a soul. I believe that we're just kind of accidental bags of meat. So when you stop, you stop.
Stop. Yeah.
So that's the stopping point. I think I would never go to such a length to say it's impossible. But I don't think what is possible would be what we think as a ghost as being.
Yeah, I was being hyperbolic,
Yeah.
and obviously ghosts don't really have any definition because they don't. I mean, what is a ghost? What does that mean?
Well, this is the
It's
thing.
nothing.
I was
So
like
you
looking
could.
up top 10 ghosts, and I was like,
Well, give me that list. Give me
go.
the top three. The
Well,
top three ghosts.
ghosts are like. I mean, I'm going on livescience.com as well.
Oh well, shit. There we go. Then it already knows more than I do.
They don't like the fact that I'm using ad blocker.
Neither do I, you dick.
I mean, I can get paid. Okay, so all right, we're gonna.
Can you give me like a clue first? Maybe I know them.
Okay, so I'm gonna leave out the ones which are pop culture ghosts because I've just scrolled down and noticed that it mentioned Casper, and I'm like, yes, Casper is the best ghost, but
That doesn't count. That's not
yeah, that
a
doesn't count.
ghost. Like, no one thinks Casper exists.
Definitely exists. I've seen the film.
Yeah. Well, okay. No, we'll get onto this point
In
in a
fact,
second.
Casper. Just to sidetrack, do you remember the Casper film?
Yeah.
All right. Do you remember the end of the Casper film where they sing the Casper the Friendly Ghost song?
Not so much. No, I remember the song, but not in that film.
So like how every Disney Pixar film ends with like a song now. They all get like they get together, don't they? And there's like usually a musical number at the end of the song, and that like caps off the movie for you. Blah blah blah. And most people equate that to Shrek.
Okay.
The end of the first Shrek film, they sing. I can't remember what the song is, but they sing a song together. A donkey sings it, and blah blah blah. But in Casper, that happens, and that was their first film with like a musical number at the end of it.
Well, I don't think okay, this really is sidetracking. I don't know if you can equate Casper to being like the invention of music in cinema. Or musical numbers at the end of.
I'm saying he is the invention of the trope in the animated film.
Okay, I mean, but also Casper's a live action film for the most part.
That's the amazing thing. Right, you think about if they made Casper now, it wouldn't be a live action film, would it?
They made sequels to that film that were fully animated.
Yeah, everything was animated. I mean, the series was animated. They would not make that film now. But now, back then, they were like, no, we're going to get the guy from Independence Day, throw him in with Cat Stevens or whatever her face was. Can't remember her name.
Cat Stevens.
The character was called Cat. I just ultimately went Cat Stevens.
I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but yes.
It's not the girl who played Wednesday, is it?
Yeah.
Christina Ricci?
Yeah, that's it.
Christina Ricci. Yeah, throw it on Christina Ricci. There you go. Anyway, back to my top 10 list of games.
Come on. We gotta stay on the topic at hand. We can't do this again.
It was liable to happen, though, Jack.
At least there was a ghost connection.
There was a ghost connection. Okay, so the first one it lists is King Hamlet. So again, we're skipping over that one.
Is that number one? Is that the top ghost?
Well, this is the annoying thing. It's one of those top 10 lists which doesn't give things a number, so it's just listed them.
Okay.
So it's just a list of 10 ghosts.
Okay.
Get your shit together, life science. Sort out. Shit. Like, no, yeah, like, just get, what the fuck are you doing? Like, we're trying to run a podcast here, and you can't provide me with a decent list about ghosts. Okay.
They're going to take you down after this.
This is what's going to end it. Ghost communities will come together. Hey, if I get the views, fuck it. I don't even monetize these videos. So. How will you ever succeed making a podcast, Graham? I don't know. I don't charge for it. Okay.
But I will get assassinated.
Maybe. I still need a coffee sponsor. It's been 3 years and no coffee companies come out of the way. I don't blame them. Okay, so first one. I feel like you might get this. If I was to say pirate ghost, what would you say?
What, as a real ghost?
Yeah.
Like Blackbeard or something.
I mean, he was a real person.
Well, yeah. Hence, he would produce a real ghost.
Okay, the first one is the Flying Dutchman.
I thought that was a boat.
It is but it's pirate ghost, right?
Oh, all right. I thought you were like a ghost of a specific pirate.
No.
You didn't say ghost ship. That's a whole other genre, and I did not specify that as a topic. Ghost ships are very real.
Moving on quickly, that's this vague list of 10 ghosts. As we've discounted 2: Hamlet's ghost, the Flying Dutchman.
The Flying Dutchman.
Oh, yeah, apparently that was the first report was like from 1923.
Yeah, it's not real.
In South Africa, apparently.
Okay.
That's great instead. Yeah, okay. I feel like this one's like. See, this is saying like famous ghosts, but I've never heard of this one. Like it's the Bell Witch.
Yeah, I know the Bell Witch.
Also, How do you know the Bell Witch?
Because I read a lot about ghosts and witches.
But to me, famous should mean I don't need to read anything. I'm just aware of what it is.
Yeah, but they could do like. Okay, now you think of something you don't know anything about. But they could be like the top 10 most famous, I don't know, Lego bricks. That's a bad one because you know some Lego bricks. But you might be like, I've never seen that Lego brick. I shouldn't have to know anything about it. Does that exist?
Don't even fucking question my Lego brick knowledge, mate. Like,
Yeah, that was a really
6 dots and some fucking cube like that.
All right. What do you know nothing about? Like, I don't know, top 10 Asian dinosaurs. You know,
I mean, that's a niche right there.
that's what I'm saying. Like ghosts are, and
Top
the Bell
10.
Witch.
The Bell Witch. Yeah. So what's the Bell
I don't know
Witch?
much about the Bell Witch, but
Okay, I'm going to read a little blurb about it. So the events that allegedly happened at John Bell's Tennessee farm. That's always a good start to a story, right? Allegedly.
it's alleged because ghosts aren't real.
I like that ghost story writers put in automatic get out clauses.
Because it's bullshit.
So the events happened
But people
between
believe it.
the events happened between 1817 and 1821. Good year, good couple of years there.
3 years.
So they've given themselves allegedly and put a 3-year gap in just in case they can't place it within those years.
Yeah.
It's said to be one of the most classic American ghost story tales.
Classic.
Bell shot at a strange animal on his farm, but the creature disappeared before it could be harmed. Several weeks later, the Bell family was tormented by a ghost that made terrifying sounds, shook the house, and physically attacked Bell's daughter, Betsy.
There you go.
But I've never
That's
heard
a
of
witch.
this.
Well, do you feel enriched now that you have heard of it?
Not really, because it doesn't really
No.
make much sense.
No, it doesn't make much sense.
Like, I shot at a random animal, which may or may not have been there, and then
That's
the house
definitely.
shook.
I mean, I don't remember much of the detail. I mean, I've definitely listened to a whole podcast about the Bell Witch, so there is a lot more information than that bit there.
I feel sorry for Betsy. That's what I'm taking from that story.
Me too.
Casper, classic. Scroll past Casper.
Yeah.
I love the Casper. He was the first comic book movie made.
What year did that come out?
95.
He definitely wasn't the first comic book. Come on. Blade was before that, right?
I don't know, actually.
No, I don't think it was. Maybe that was 97.
I mean, that soundtrack was early, 2000s for Blade. Right. So that's got to be, late 90s, right?
Also, there was, Captain America movies in the 70s and stuff. So.
Yeah, they don't really count, though, do they?
Not for the purpose of you being right, no.
Did they have a musical number at the end? I don't think so. Okay, moving on. Okay, so I'll get you to guess this one. Is saying a name into a mirror?
No, I don't know.
It's the Bloody Mary story.
Yeah, I'll do that. I didn't want to say a name, Graham, because now we've done it. We would have done it twice if I'd said it as well. We would be at risk.
It always just makes me think of the South Park episode with Biggie Smalls.
Biggie Smalls. Oh, Jesus
Christ.
Bloody Mary's these are pretty rubbish ghosts, if you ask me.
There's no date on this, though. It doesn't say when it was first kind of a thing.
Because it isn't real.
But
it's something that's going to be. It's so old, and so many people know it that there isn't someone wrote. It's not like Mary Shelley writing Frankenstein, and we can attribute it to that. No one wrote Bloody Mary, and then it became well known.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of because you kind of hear some stuff like that, like when you think of Grimm's fairy tales. And you can trace even because that's most people trace back to them and go, okay, that's as far back as you go. But if you look into them, they're all based on old folklore tales.
Yeah.
So you can kind of track it. But Bloody Mary is just a weird one. The best part of that is that Candyman came out of it.
That's very true. Right. Which is a stellar movie. Also, you can't. The first person to say Bloody Mary, we've done it 4 or 5 times now. So there's a mirror above me. I'm pretty spooked. But the first time to do it into a mirror, died. So
yeah, how did anyone even find
I don't know.
They were just outside the door, just oh shit.
There's probably countless deaths attributed to Bloody Mary where people have died in front of mirrors, but they've assumed it's something else. Because why would you think that?
Just what was Betsy doing? She was in the bathroom. I don't know. I just heard her shouting Bloody Mary at a mirror, and then we walked in and she was dead. Clearly a ghost situation, guys. Yeah, definitely just didn't slit her own throat in front of the mirror.
While drinking Bloody Marys.
Yeah, maybe that was the thing. Someone just really wanted a Bloody Mary.
Yeah, and then killed themselves.
Yeah, back in folklore.
Whoa,
now I need to know when the Bloody Mary was invented. Bloody Mary drink origin. This is the part. Like, this is something I'm finding quite handy doing these.
So you can just Google stuff.
Is that I've got Google just like right here. And when I did the one with Brett and Charlotte, I had an iPad because we did hypothetical questions.
Okay.
So I was reading hypothetical questions, but it was nice just having like reading material to just refer to.
Yeah.
All right, so the Bloody Mary is from like the 1940s, but I feel like that could have been when it originated. 1940s. Yeah.
She's been killing for centuries.
Does she actually kill you though? That's the thing.
She probably has like a body count on her wiki page.
Bloody Mary is a ghost of a woman who murdered her children. But that's all it says.
So we named a drink after her.
Yeah, because we were like, fuck being scared.
Branding.
Let's drink it.
Yes, fair enough. Conquer your fears.
I was watching. Was I watching or listening? I was listening to a thing about Ed Gein the other day.
Okay, yeah.
And like the whole story about Ed Gein. And essentially like how he comes from like the tiniest town. So there was like 100 people max in this town. And when they all found out about what had happened, they all started making things called like Geinisms, which were like small limericks about Ed Gein.
Okay.
And it was essentially a reaction from them because they couldn't deal with the information they got. They started to make jokes about it.
Yeah,
it's like,
understandable.
And that whole like drift into like dark humor, and essentially, like all of our dark humor is like English people and British people comes from that of like, yeah, we've never been comfortable with anything ever.
Yeah, it's definitely a good coping mechanism for most things, right? I can understand that, and definitely, yeah, in the UK in particular, it's definitely even more prevalent.
It is the trademark of us. Okay.
I mean, how do you get over a family member's death? You eventually make a joke about it. Yeah, everything's okay.
You know, you find out someone died, and you instantly it's like, yeah, just escaping the family, guys. You got to get a weekend, like, you know. All right, so I mean, I kind of know the next one.
Okay,
it's the Drury Lane ghost.
Okay.
I mean, I know Drury Lane.
Yeah, I'm guessing there's a ghost there.
But then I feel like this is just a thing because this is saying that it's the famous. Apparently, there's several in Drury Lane.
Well, that's already cheating.
Yeah, but the one is a man in grey, seen as a nobleman carrying a sword.
Could just be a guy.
Could just be a guy. But I feel like that's a trademark of like old buildings that people just go, oh yeah, someone saw a ghost here.
100%. Yeah, every old building's like, this is haunted.
Yeah.
By this thing for these reasons. The building I work in is there's loads of ghosts in there apparently. Right. I'm like, okay.
People just say something. It's like when you see ghost photos and they're like, oh yeah, but it came from the 1912s. They didn't know about Photoshop. And I'm like, yeah, but also they know about how to process a fucking photograph.
Or just like take really grainy old photos because it's all they had.
Yeah.
Of things that look like things. Or
I feel like the ghosting community. That sounds like a weird Tinder.
Is that a different thing? Yeah.
This is
the ghosting community.
we need a punny title which plays on the dating aspect of ghosting, but also the spiritual nature of it. I mean, we're saying ghosting ain't real, but
well, amen to that, brother.
All right. I've completely lost my train of thought.
You were talking about Victorian ghosts and cameras and the ghost community.
Yeah, cameras. Yeah, so the ghost community, I feel like it's rife for trolling. Right.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Like
it's the kind of this ghost I saw.
Like if I was a bored photo developer in the 1900s, I would have put so many dark splotches on photographs.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like 99% of ghost photographs are people who are like, thought I'd make it look a little bit ghosty.
Yeah. I was like, what's this dark matter? It's like, I don't really know. It just came out when it was on the negative, mate. Can I see the negative? No.
The ghost took it.
Why do you have a large vat of bleach next to that negative? No idea, mate. Don't worry about it. This one seems more like urban legend than anything else.
Nah, this is more my jam.
Okay, so the vanishing hitchhiker.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. But that's also like, that's not one ghost. These are all like ghost concepts.
Yeah.
They're like umbrella ideas of ghosts.
But
it's not like the ghost of old Jim who lives at number 43.
There is a whole thing. So like, where do you, because I feel like ghost stories are a very East worldly thing. Like in the US, ghosts exist for them
They don't.
as a
Oh, I
concept.
see what you mean. Okay, so there's a higher chance of people believing in
But
ghosts.
we have like a lot more stories about it because we're older as a society. But they went heavily into urban legend, whereas we didn't really get into urban legend. We just went, no, it's paranormal.
Yeah, I can see what you mean, because like America has less old buildings. Is this what you're getting at? Like,
Good,
there's
because like,
less.
there's a lot of stories of like back in the old west and back in like pushing out like early years. They do a lot of like things about like mysticisms and what was like taking a foothold. There's a great thing about like vampire hunters back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But like anything we experience within our life, we go, oh, yeah, it was probably just like paranormal stuff. Like we automatically attribute it to mysticism, whereas they go, no, it's urban legend, and then it becomes something slightly, I don't know, maybe more concrete, but maybe bigger, because they were trying to get away from that mysticism idea.
Well, what do you? I mean, what is the difference between mysticism and urban legend in like this? What do you?
I don't know. I feel like maybe it's like kind of like guy with a hook in his hand.
Mm.
Like that's got a base in reality, right? That's got like there's a guy with a hook in his hand and he prowls the night. Whereas to us, we'd be like, nah, that's hook ghost, mate. Fucking
Ghost. And well, I guess like a lot of ghost stories are there's no or less so anyway. You've got less sort of a moral compass element to a ghost story. Whereas a lot of urban legends have if you go necking down Lover's Lane, the hook guy will get you because there's no, maybe that's it. Like, I mean, we did the America was brought up by religious fundamentalists that we kicked out of England.
yeah.
Maybe there's an element of that to it. I guess legends have more of a they have a story to them more, don't they? Whereas ghost stories like shit, I saw a weird shadow. It's probably a ghost.
We do
you
like
don't
to
really get much from it.
there's a level of like we just like to inject a little bit of chaos into everything. Of just like,
Maybe.
yeah, life's kind of boring. What would make it more interesting? Well, what if there was these things which we couldn't control and attacked people for literally no reason? But well, that
I
would
mean,
make
also
life
it's like,
hella
I mean,
interesting.
ghosts also come from like, I mean, if you're really looking into like the belief of ghosts, then obviously that's tied into like similar beliefs like an afterlife and things, a general sense of like humanity's purpose on Earth. Why are we here? Why do we die? Do we carry on beyond that? Can we carry on? Does our energy transfer? Are there echoes of ourselves that still exist once the physical is gone? So I understand where all that stuff comes from. Also, like if you go into creepy places that are really dark, it feels weird. So you're like, maybe there's a ghost.
It makes me curious though, because like obviously we just mentioned the US and the UK, but I'd be curious what somewhere like Russia their take on
As for ghost
ghosting is,
stories,
because they like
on ghosting or ghost stories.
well like they have as well like they like in terms of like a history, we have a long history, they have a very long history. Their history is filled with a lot more death. Like we have a history of murder. Like we go
With
out.
the history of going other places and murdering them.
That's what we do. We like this is why. So when I went to Canada, all I discovered was that there is literally no place we haven't been and murdered someone. Like I didn't know too much about Canada's history, and then I went to the Canadian Museum and I was just walking around, just like, yeah, this is literally what we do as a society. We turn up, we murder everybody, we inject our like fucking culture into everything, and then we leave. And
then we get annoyed when they want to not be a part of it anymore.
But yeah, like Russia, like they've got a long history of death in their country, but I don't feel like they're very like. I know they're very religious. There's a strong religious community in Russia, but I don't know if their mysticism is high on that.
I mean, I kind of feel like Russian ghost stories and things are like a thing. I would definitely, but then I don't know much about Russia.
I don't know why, but I feel like their ghost stories would be way more brutal.
Oh yeah, I think they'd have like the best ghost stories.
But I don't know if that's like a weird impression to have of just like that, like a weird like prejudice in my head where I'm just like, no, Russia, everything they do is just way harsh.
Maybe.
Like, what are they doing? They're making croissants. Oh, are they metal croissants?
But like everywhere has ghost stories. I mean, like Japan has like
yeah,
a real industry for ghost stories. Like it's such a big thing there. A lot of their folklore revolves around ghosts. So it's definitely like part of the human condition, the wondering about other worlds and what happens to us.
What I find interesting about Japan is that their idea of ghosts is quite a positive thing.
Yeah,
Like a lot of their ghosts are sort of part of
they
their
definitely seem there's a lot
life.
more of a there's more of a spectrum of ghosts
Yeah.
in Japan. I get the impression of you got like there is a lot of you got your goodies and your baddies.
Yeah, because well, they have that whole thing of like spirits and ghosts, don't they? It's like
Yeah.
you know, ancestors and that kind of thing. Whereas
Yeah.
we went, no, fuck that. People only come back if they're bad.
Yeah, or it's like it's spooky if they come back. It's
Yeah.
something to be afraid of.
Yeah.
That's true. But then I mean that's then a whole other topic. I mean that is sort of different cultures' opinions on and views towards death in general. Like we definitely it's not a good thing over here. You know, you don't want to die, and dying is bad, and that's the end of everything. And if ghosts come back, then that's because something went wrong when they died, or it's not an extension of life. It's not the first step on a new journey. It's the end of everything.
I don't know. It's weird as well. Like I don't feel like as a society we're afraid of death in the UK.
No shit.
No,
No
I'd like.
step.
I mean, obviously, I feel like there is like people are afraid of death, but not in a sense of like we're going to like such an extreme to make death seem pleasant.
Okay.
I feel like we accept it. We go, it's an inevitability, and therefore it's something which I want to avoid. But it's something which happens, and like we say, like we make jokes about it because we're uncomfortable with it. Whereas, like somewhere like the US, they are terrified of death because they see death as like once you're dead, it's worse. Like somehow, I don't know how.
You
Whereas
might become a ghost.
yeah, whereas like in Japan, they're like, no, death is just like it's natural. It's just a part of life, and therefore it's a positive thing.
Yeah.
Whereas we're
I
just
mean,
like, yeah, we're just like, no, it happens.
yeah, I think so. I think culturally, the UK doesn't like to talk about death because
No.
we don't like it. So we make black jokes about things because it's like we would rather inject a bit of humor into the situation and then pretend it didn't happen and never think about it again. Because yes, one day we are going to die, but let's not talk about that.
I like how we don't like to talk about death, and yet we talk about it constantly as a society, whether we realize we do or not.
Yeah. I mean, at the minute,
Oh yeah, I
there's
mean,
a large umbrella.
how many Corona ghosts are going to come out of this? Like, I feel like there's going to be a fair few
I don't
people.
think you can leave a ghost behind afterwards.
No,
No.
Corona eats that spirituality. But
Yeah, it's so powerful it kills the ghost as well.
it weirdly plays into it. Like Corona's like an invisible enemy. You can't, and therefore people react how they would to ghosts. That's the thing which gets me. You know, like when you see ghosts in films, or like, oh, yeah,
Like Casper, or
not even in films. Just like when people talk about ghosts, and they're like, yeah, no, they're terrified. Oh, you see like the ghost story things, and they like wander around empty houses. I'm like, okay, but no one's ever actually explained to me what a ghost is going to do.
yeah, this is why they don't exist, Graham. Because they don't. If ghosts existed in the numbers and ways that people think they do, we'd have far more quantifiable evidence and reasoning as to what the fuck a ghost wants. What are they doing? Are they just weird energy echoes? Do they have a conscious? Are they conscious? Do they have wants, needs, and desires? Are they flawed human beings that are just looking for?
Now I've only just been reminded of the fucking Ghost Whisperer TV show.
Which one was that? Is that the one that was in like the mid-2000s?
Yeah, it was that girl, and she could see ghosts, and they had
I know what you
unfinished
mean.
business, and then she helps them move on to the other side, and then
I mean, that's why Casper stays around, right? They have unfinished business.
yeah, Casper's unfinished business is with it. Like he can never really get over it, which is why he'll
Is that
forever.
because he can't grow up?
Yeah, because he's a kid.
It's actually really sad that.
He got like pneumonia and died. And his dad.
So I only have loads of kid ghosts.
But I don't get why his dad didn't become a ghost.
Because he had unfinished business. Well, I guess his business was pretty finished.
But his whole business was trying to bring his.
Oh, he was trying to bring Casper back. Yeah, no,
he
sorry, you're right.
He didn't manage that.
He made his peace with it.
It's the end. It was just like, you know,
no,
what,
I really
it.
gave him my best shot. Yeah.
I mean, in a way, though, like I guess he did it. He made his serum because they use it, and he brings someone back to life. He just could never find Casper. So in a way, Casper's to blame.
I'm gonna have to watch it again. I feel like we're digging far too. I mean, you might have found some plot holes in Casper. I'm
There
gonna
is
be
maybe a
honest.
few flaws in Casper. Okay, so there's only two left, and one of them I've got a discount because he's pop culture, so I can't include him.
What is it though?
Slimer.
Oh,
I
I mean,
mean,
Slimer is
famous
more real
ghosts.
than ghosts, to be fair.
But then I also feel like Slimer isn't. He's not what I'd class as a ghost.
He's literally a ghost.
But he doesn't like to like when you think of a ghost is from like a former person, whereas
That's
Slimer
true.
is just
It's Slimer.
slime.
He's an entity, isn't he? Isn't he
Yeah,
like created from the sense of consumption or something ridiculous like that?
yeah, he's
So,
more like a
I'm sorry, I'm calling Ghostbusters ridiculous. I don't know what like having a go at it. It's fucking Ghostbusters.
Bill Murray. Get your shit together, man! Like Jesus. Okay, so the last one on this list is the murdered peddler.
Ooh, that sounds spooky. I like this one.
It does. It's got a little bit of information about it, so I'll read that as well.
No,
Okay.
please. I want to know
So,
more.
one day in the early 1840s in Hydesville, New York, a young peddler arrived at the home of Mr. and Mrs. Bell, solid New York name in the 1840s.
Of the Bell Witch?
Maybe. No, that happened to Mr. Tennessee. To sell his wares, he was invited into the home by Bell's housekeeper and, in fact, stayed for some days. Who the fuck does that? A guy
Different
turns up
time,
to your
mate.
house to sell you a window, and you're like, "No, mate, come in.
Different.
Stay a couple of days."
You buy one, you get one free.
Imagine listening to him for 2 days. Anyway, the maid was shortly dismissed from service, but abruptly rehired a week later.
It's a weird detail.
Yeah, that is a weird detail. So he oh no, so yeah, the housekeeper invited him in, and then she was
She was
fired.
booted out for
And then
doing that.
a week later, she was rehired.
Because they couldn't get any cleaning done.
Yeah. The peddler was gone, but many of his items were now in use in Bell's kitchen. The maid thought little of it until she began experiencing strange ghostly phenomenon, only to find out from the peddler's ghost that in fact he had been murdered in her absence. Okay, at least this was a story told by two sisters named Maggie and Katie Fox, who claimed to communicate with the ghost. Years later, the sisters admitted it had all been a hoax and there was no murdered peddler, and the spirit communications had been fake. Still, the sisters have inadvertently founded a religion called spiritualism, which is still practiced today, and the murdered peddler is the only fake ghost whose presence started a real religion.
Yep. Yeah, no, I'm familiar with those sisters who were like, yeah, we speak to spirits, and basically everything we've got about speaking to spirits comes from them, who then years later were like, no, we faked the whole thing.
I'd never even heard of that. I mean, I've heard of spiritualism, but I'd never heard of like.
They would like travel around the country. They had like a show that went with it. They would speak to ghosts. Basically, they were like what Derek Acora did, but on a grand scale, and made loads of money for it. And then they were like, no, this was bullshit. And
I like that story.
This is why ghosts aren't real.
That's the thing, though. Like, I like that story. Like, that has got some nuances to it.
That's a creepy little tale.
Yeah, like
I'd read it as a short story. I wouldn't think it was real, but
it's not like it's more like flash fiction.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. Maybe that's all it was back in the day. People were just writing flash fiction, and they didn't have anywhere to submit it to.
You've solved it. That's all the ghost stories ever.
If someone could have invented like short stories and publishing back in the day, we wouldn't even have ghosts. We'd just have good writers. Think of how many writers have wasted their time on something like folklore, and it never got anywhere.
Yeah.
Grandpa Elias was just telling tales, spinning tales at the fireplace. He could have been a published author.
Yeah, you're right. Just sort of right place, wrong time.
Right place, wrong time. That's going to be my excuse when I die.
Do you need an excuse when you die?
I feel like
for what? For what?
I think I've told enough people that I want to live forever, so I need an excuse when I eventually die.
Oh, okay, that's fair enough. But if you have unfinished business, you'll come back as a ghost.
Hopefully. I mean, I'd want. In a way, I feel like when I get to my later years, on my twilight years, I'll just start making unfinished business.
Yeah, just in case.
Just like
I'm definitely the amount of things I always have going that I want to do or want to read or want to whatever. There's going to be some unfinished business.
It depends what unfinished business is, because like, could you just buy like an ethics kit and then just never complete it?
Just don't do it.
Just like take it out of the box, assemble one piece, put it to the side, and be like, I'm going to finish that one day.
If you start it,
yeah,
then it counts.
It like puts that little check mark in the timeline and goes, Graham started this. He was
Yeah,
meant to build the bus
you
from
get a new
speed.
quest log. Maybe
He
it's ticked off.
he painted the little Keanu Reeves, and that's about as far as he got. So yeah, I guess he's our unfinished business. And then when
I
I'm
really
his
hope it's
ghost,
Airfix kid.
I can never finish it because I can't pick it up.
That's true. Unless you put enough like will into it. Sometimes ghosts can move things, right? They sometimes like knock things over.
Only some ghosts, though, apparently.
Yeah, it's like there's no rules. Unless it's just loads of different. Maybe ghosts are as varied as the humans they come from.
Because that's the whole thing with Casper.
Because he can't touch stuff.
Well, he cooks breakfast.
Oh, that film makes no sense.
But then he puts his hand through her.
Well, I think some ghosts can do it like at will.
All right, okay, that's convenient.
Well, if you really want breakfast, you'll get breakfast cooked.
No, saying that, like that whole scene taught me what sunny side down eggs are, and
actually, yeah, that's probably where I got.
they are a revelation.
It's a big conversation about eggs.
It's like, well, how do you like it? It's like, sunny side down. I'm like, what the fuck is sunny side down? And they flips it over. I'm like, it makes perfect sense. The sunny side down.
Do you know what? That's how I always cook eggs, and I think I prefer it the other way. But I always cook eggs that way.
So you go out of the way to ruin your breakfast.
Yeah, I'm starting to realise. Well, I don't trust it not flipped.
Your self-destructive attitude doesn't have to go into like the food you eat on a daily basis, where you're like, yeah, you know what? This breakfast is going to be fantastic. It'd be a shame if someone ruined it.
Well, yes, perhaps you're right. Maybe I'll try and curtail that particular.
I mean, it is harder to make sunny side up eggs.
I don't trust them.
You don't trust them?
Well, because I feel like if I flip
feel
over,
like they're going to steal their wallet, or like
no, it's just like you're guaranteed to get a bit of cooking on both sides, so it is going to be a cooked egg. But the trick is to do it for like 10 seconds, so you've still got the yolk intact.
Well, the trick is when you flip it over, you turn off the hob.
God, you're a fucking genius.
Because the pan's still hot, so you take it off the hob, it'll still cook the underside, and then by the time you've done your bread and whatnot, you just flip it out onto the thing, and then you still got a runny yolk.
That's amazing.
I'm just gonna.
I don't cook eggs that much. I'm going to tell you right now. Well, I cook them now more than I ever used to. What I mean is that my egg cooking ability is probably quite new.
Okay.
So I haven't learned these tips.
I discovered fairly recently, that I've been doing scrambled eggs badly most of my life.
I don't even know how to make scrambled eggs.
Okay, so scrambled eggs are fairly simple as a meal, but I've been cooking them the same way my parents cook them for my entire life. And then I was recently watching Bon Appetit and discovered how to make better scrambled eggs. And I was like, I'll give that a go. So the way my parents make scrambled eggs is you take eggs, you take milk, crack them into a bowl, whisk it all together, throw it into a pan with a little bit of butter in it, and then you stir it slowly until it slowly coags into scrambled eggs.
Okay.
It's straightforward, it's simple, it's fine, it goes well on toast, and you're like, yeah, I got scrambled eggs. However, if you take a frying pan instead of like a saucepan, throw some butter into that, and then do eggs without milk, pour that into it like you would like an omelette, and then you just stir it and like fold it in, you get like way chunkier pieces of egg, and it's way tastier because it's been cooked on like a whole surface, and it cooks quicker. And I sat here and ate it, and I was like, I've been living a fucking lie. I was like, I make good scrambled eggs. Apparently I don't. I just don't. So
life would be shit if you stopped learning stuff at 25. In fact, everything important I've learned since my mid-20s. Everything before that, I don't know. What was that?
Like, what is the point of the first 20 years?
It's basically a trial run, which I accidentally forgot to cancel the auto renew for, and now I'm just stuck.
That's the best description of being in your 20s ever. It's just like it's like someone subscribed to me at 16, and now I just got to 20, and it just.
And of course you forgot you were 20. Yeah.
Did you hear Netflix are going to cancel accounts now?
What?
So if you haven't used your Netflix account in like a year.
Oh, I thought you meant like a blanket.
No.
No one has accounts anymore.
So if you've been like inactive and you haven't used it, they're just going to turn off your subscription and stop charging you. I'm like, that's
That's
cheating.
quite nice of them.
Yeah, but they're going to save your information as well. So if you eventually do renew, you've still got all your lists and stuff. I'm like, that's great.
Seems like a good thing. Is there a bad thing here?
No, that was just a piece of information I learned this morning.
You're just like, that's pretty good. It's nice to hear good news sometimes,
Yeah, good
especially
little bit
about
of
big
consumerism.
media conglomerates.
I've done a cheeky search whilst we were chatting about eggs of the best 10 movies about ghosts.
Featuring eggs.
I feel like that would interest us.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh god, fucking. You know when you go to a website and it's like, do you want notifications? And I'm like, no, I don't want notifications. Also, do you want to fucking do our GDPR? I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Oh, here's an advert with John Mulaney saying some shit. I'm like, I mean, I love John Mulaney, but my cry. Anyway.
GDPR was supposed to help us, but it made everything worse.
It did. It did. It protected nothing as well. I got like 1,000 emails which were like, we've been told we have to tell you you're subscribed to our emails. If you don't reply, we'll unsubscribe you. And I'm like, I'm not going to reply to any of these. And then I still get emails. Sort it out. Either way, in IndieWire, a website I've never heard of.
Okay.
Not a sponsor.
Not after that sterling recommendation.
these have actually numbered them, so this is a top 10.
Okay, this is more like it. This is more legit.
Like a proper top 10.
Let's see how many I've seen.
I'm not entirely sure what order this is in because it counts down from 10.
It's like it'll be worst to best, right?
I guess so. Okay, so the first one.
What's number 10?
The Devil's Backbone. 2001.
Okay. Well, that's pretty amazing. So maybe that is number 1. That's a strong start. And a great ghost movie.
I mean, I've never seen it. I didn't even realize it was a Del Toro.
You should see it. It's really good.
I watched the Orphanage.
Okay, yeah.
That was pretty
Which
good.
I've not seen.
It was pretty good. But a lot of people don't like that film.
No.
I don't know why.
I don't know much about it. What have you seen? I know that Devil's Backbone was like the brother companion story to Pan's Labyrinth. So they sort of.
Ah, okay.
They're not related in any way, but they kind of thematically and conceptually sit nicely together.
All right. That works. Okay, so number 9, classic, Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
984. Yeah.
I'm going to straight up say right now that I don't like Ghostbusters.
Like any of them?
Nope.
Why?
Just don't see the point.
Or is that a whole conversation?
That probably is a whole conversation. Okay, the first one's like, all right. Okay, so the problem I had with like when the new Ghostbusters came out and everyone was like, "This is terrible, you've ruined Ghostbusters." I was like, Ghostbusters 2 ruined Ghostbusters, so let's not pretend that didn't happen.
I mean, I enjoy Ghostbusters 2, but it also is not as good as Ghostbusters 1.
Yeah, and the first, I don't know. I've not watched 2 in a long time. I think I watched the first one.
Like Ghostbusters.
Well, I watched the first one again not that long ago, and I was like, "Oh, this isn't." It hasn't aged well, and I can't critique it for that because it's not its fault.
Did you watch it when you were older or younger?
I watched it when I was a kid, and I was like,
okay,
that's and then I watched it again when I was older, and was like,
There is a lot of nostalgia value. I'll give it that. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 8, The Haunting, 1963.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Again,
that's solid choice. Solid.
I don't watch a lot of horror. This is
these ghost stories.
Yeah. The problem I have with any of it is like, I mean, as we've decided through this, we're fairly cynical as people. I have struggled getting into those films. Okay. I struggle to like kind of get through that idea that this is anyway real, suspending disbelief.
Yeah. What you're like, ghosts aren't real. I'm not scared.
Yeah. So it doesn't work. I've not even heard of
that good horror movies are like really good because they get over that hump as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, what's the next one?
Okay, so this is Personal Shopper in 2016.
Yeah, the one with Kirsten Stewart.
Yeah.
I watched that. That was actually quite interesting. It's not a horror. It's not spooky. There's definitely, a bit spooky, I guess. There's ghost elements to it.
Yeah, I'm reading a little bit about it. So reinventing the ghost story with radical directness and modern self-sense of self. My God, this likes to be wordy about something. Olivia Assayas' Personal Shopper survived a dicey Cannes premiere, apparently, to assume its place as one of the most affecting depictions of the grieving process ever committed to screen.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't...
Is it Ghost without Swayze?
Yeah, but with more like respect about dead people as well.
How dare you say that Ghost did not have respect?
If Ghost is on this list, I'm banging out so hard. No,
Jack, you
yeah,
can't
it's
deny the
worth a
greatness
look.
of the pottery scene. My God, like that is.
I can accept all the greatness of the pastiches of it,
Yeah,
and that it had to exist for these to exist.
it's got Whoopi Goldberg in it. What more could you want from a film about Patrick
I
Swayze?
could want loads more from a film than Whoopi Goldberg. There's no slight on Whoopi Goldberg. It's just that she's not the criteria for greatness.
I don't know. I feel like you inject Whoopi Goldberg into Ghostbusters, you would have had a hell of a film, Jack.
I'm not saying she's making things worse by being there. She could definitely improve what's happening, but
I love modern Whoopi Goldberg is great as well because she just seems to be randomly pops up. She's never where you expect her to be. Like you're watching something and all of a sudden Whoopi Goldberg's saying, you're like, oh shit, Whoopi Goldberg's here. When did that happen?
she's in the new adaptation of The Stand.
See, I
And
wouldn't
was like, yeah,
expect her to be in the stand. She's there. Okay, 1922, The Phantom Carriage.
that sounds spooky.
It does.
I'm not familiar with this.
It looks spooky. I mean, it's a film from 1920s, so I'm guessing there's a lot of like double overlays of negatives going on in it.
I think the word phantom is just quite scary.
The Phantom. I mean, the film
Like,
The Phantom
like,
is not scary. Have you seen
well,
the film
no.
The Phantom? Billy
Yeah.
Zane, like tight purple costume.
I think if someone was like, "There's a phantom in the shed," I'd be a bit like,
Okay.
"Ooh." But if someone said there's a ghost in there, I'd be like, "Ghosts aren't real."
Yeah.
But phantoms are like they're out to get you.
Okay. I mean, this is quite an interesting story as well. Okay, so it's a genre classic that still holds up to the rudimentary eeriness of its special effects, which are magnified by the inherent spectre of death that now haunts all silent films in the 1920s. The story goes that the last person to die is given a year. In a given year, is consigned to carry the reins of death's carriage for the year to follow, and the philandering drunkard by the name of David Home, who was played by the director, because, you know, why not put yourself in a film, learns the myth is true when he encounters his late friend Georges one New Year's Eve. I think that sounds pretty cool.
That does sound pretty good. I like it when ghosts have rules as well, like in The Ring. You know,
Yeah.
ghosts that follow a code. I'm down with that.
I like a modern ghost story, which is VHS. Personally, that's, you know, I feel like
I've
if
not
you're going to
seen
be
it.
a ghost, why not
Okay.
just like put it on an outdated format, which you'd have to go find a player for.
VHS is spooky in and of themselves.
Yeah, you give me a story and someone involves playing a VHS, I'm already fully encapsulated.
Oh, now I'm scared.
Like, this is going to be 20 minutes of the film. Why is that? He's got to get the aerial parts. That's going to take him 10 minutes, and then
the tracking's going to be off.
The tracking's going to be off. It's going to be like a good 2-3 minutes just clicking up and down. Because
we're officially old now.
We're already old, Jack. We've been old. How old have we been old? We hit 26 and we turned old. We should have been in a pub with flat caps and a pint.
Oh, that'd been good.
It would have. Okay. Number 5, A Ghost Story, 2017.
Oh, with the other Affleck and one of them are. Yeah, that was that was like actually I hated it and loved it, which is powerful. That's a powerful set of emotions to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the end of it, it made me really concerned about my own existence.
Okay.
But it was not a horror story about ghosts.
Is that why you hated it?
No, I didn't like the bit where she eats a pie for 6 straight minutes on screen. But
I mean, that sounds like the best part of the film.
Yeah, Graham, you'd love it.
I have a thing. I tell you, I have a thing with films where I'm just like, any scene where someone's intently eating something just captivates me.
Watch Ghost Story.
There's another Swayze film. There's a Swayze film where he's like, and Matt showed me it, where it's called like a time or something. Like there's like a day. It's like 2:40 or something, and like all these things happen at 2:40, so it's like 12 overlapping stories or something shit. You know, one of those tropes. And he's stood in his house watching his daughter leave with this guy, and he's eating a sandwich. And I have never wanted a sandwich more in my entire life than the one he was. It's like a wedge of bread, and it's like lettuce, and he's just stood there, and he's just like, no. You know, you're like, oh my god, I want a fucking sandwich.
What about if people are eating disgusting stuff?
No, I'm just encapsulated. Someone posted a video the other day of some guy eating a pie and giving a speech, and from like an old film, and he's mumbling through the lines, and the whole thing. The reason they posted it was like because you'd never do this in a modern film, like because the dialogue's slipping out because he's eating, but he's just going at this pie, I just wanted a pie. I'm just hungry. I'm constantly hungry.
Graham, watch Ghost Story. You'll love the pie eating scene.
I will watch Ghost Story. Okay, we're gonna burn through the rest. Number 4, Carnival of Souls, 1962.
Cannibal of Souls.
Carnival of Souls. Carnival of Souls sounds like a B movie.
I'd watch that. I don't think I've seen that.
I've not seen it.
Sounds spooky.
I mean, it looks pretty good. Like
Anything with a circus theme, I'm straight out.
it was only shot for 33,000. Like it had it's set in a fun house. I mean, I'm getting more into this as we go.
Okay, I'm less into it.
This is Pie Take 2, right? Okay.
Pie Take 2.
The Others, 2000.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, that was good. That's I've not seen it since I saw it when it came out. So I was like, what, 12, 13, and it spooked me. It made me jump a little bit, and the twist was really good. But
yeah, I mean, I remember seeing the trailers for that, like quite a lot. But I think that came out around like the same time as like Sixth Sense and stuff, didn't it? So
yeah, around that. Yeah.
Okay, The Innocents, 1961.
This is the best ghost film.
That's number 2.
Oh, okay. No, don't think I.
I've not seen it.
So I recognize the title, but no.
Yeah, I mean, it's from a Truman Capote screenplay, so it's probably fairly good. It's probably fairly good.
It's probably all right.
It's probably all right. You know, Capote, it was all right. It was back in the day. It was all right. What did I watch with him the other day? What did I watch with him? Just sit chilling out with Capote. It might have just been Capote, the film.
All right, yeah.
It was good. Like
he was in it, but not.
Yeah, but not. I mean, yeah, Philip Seymour Hoffman in anything is fantastic.
Yeah,
so yeah,
100%.
You know, Capote's all right, but Hoffman as Capote.
Capote wasn't the most Capote he could have been. He had to be played by Philip Seymour Hoffman before he reached his true potential.
That is how life should be, right? You should never be the full you want to be. You should wait until a decent actor comes along and then plays you and you're like, yes, that is what I want it to be.
Yeah, I want to go to like a competition impersonating me and to come in third place.
Yeah, I never want to win the competition for me. If anything, I want to be rejected before the actual and then I want to sit and watch all 10 people who could have been me and be like, you know what? They're doing it better than I am.
They're doing it better. Look at them winning this competition.
It wouldn't be very me if I won. Okay. No. So the number 1 I haven't seen at all, and I've never even heard of, but there's a chance you have because you're more filmy than me.
Okay.
It's Ugetsu, and it's a 1953 film from Japan.
I've not seen it. What's it about?
So I'll read a little bit about it. So one of the best films ever made, ghost content or otherwise. That's a bold claim by IndieWire. But there is a ghost, lifelike one, involved in a relationship with a living person whose presence takes on a particularly devastating significance, as it is with most of the Kenji Mizoguchi films. The real horror involves a woman living in a patriarchal society. The most remarkable thing about this late Mizoguchi masterpiece is that the ghost doesn't really appear until the second half of the film, but his moving camera, mounted on a crane for nearly every shot, grounds the audience in cinematic space that has otherworldly spiritual resonance. The story itself is set in 16th century and adapted from 18th century ghost story tales by screenwriter Yoshikatsu Yoda, I'm terrible at pronouncing Japanese names, is a fatalistic tragedy about delusional foolishness of 2 husbands during a civil war and the wives they leave at home to fend for themselves. That's all it says, so I don't actually know what the story is.
I don't know where the ghost comes in or what the ghost does.
I feel like
that's not a spoiler for you.
That focused way more on the camera work and the themes than the actual ghost.
Well, I think to find the best ghost stories, the ghost is really,
a side
incidental. It's like Jaws, isn't it? It's not about the shark.
I mean, it's titled after the shark.
The shark isn't called Jaws. It's not like Mr. Jaws.
Yeah, but it's not like whatever the lifeguard's name, is it?
Well, it's not Brody, but it's also like Brody has a jaw.
Imagine if Brody was like the name of Jaws.
People would have watched it less.
I mean, yeah, no one went to see the Meg. So.
I saw the Meg.
As soon as I saw the trailer for the Meg, I was like, Jack's like pre-booked.
It's shark movies, mate. I have to see them.
I know you do. I know. But I feel like I just prefer ghost films to be named after their ghost. Like Casper is he's not on this list, and I'm disappointed.
Yeah, you're right.
It holds up as well. Like that film holds up. I'm just saying.
Well, I feel like I need to catch up with a lot of films on this list. I mean, if The Devil's Backbone is at like 10, that's a strong list. Or so I'm missing. I thought I knew some ghost fiction, but I
mean, I mean, I feel like the website it came from has a risk of pretentiousness over actual entertainment value in this list. Like,
yeah, so Casper should be on the list.
Yeah, like if you took, because I feel like you could take some of these films out,
okay,
easily and still inject in good. There's enough ghost films around.
This coming from someone who has no interest in ghosts, knows nothing about ghosts, and doesn't.
Maybe I should make a top 10 list of ghost films.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see it. I think you'd struggle to do it, to be honest.
I'd struggle to think of 10 ghost films.
Yeah, you think of 10 ghost films.
I've exhausted most of my ghost film knowledge in just making jokes during this podcast.
Yeah. You thought ghost film, you went straight to Casper. That's what he's saying. I like it.
I went to Casper and I went to Ghost.
Yeah.
And both of them have Ghost in the title.
Yep.
Yeah.
Best film with Ghost in the title is Ghost in the Darkness.
Ghost in the Darkness.
It was in the late 90s, and it's about, I'm 99% sure it's Val Kilmer fighting lions.
Is that actually about ghosts, or is that just?
No, I think the two lions are named Ghost and Darkness.
Okay.
And he battles them. It's based on a real story, but like it's Val Kilmer up to the max. Great movie. Terrifying lion attack scenes.
Imagine Val Kilmer and Philip Seymour Hoffman in a film together. Imagine Val Kilmer and Nick Cage in a film together. Oh.
Current Val Kilmer or old Val Kilmer? Former?
Both. We CGI his face.
three actors and two of them are Val Kilmer.
Oh, it'd be like a brother film where there's like twins, both played by Val Kilmer, but one's young Val Kilmer and one's old Val Kilmer. So one's kind of chubby and one's kind of manic. And then you've got Nick Cage just like on the side as the older brother.
Yeah.
I would watch
I'd watch it.
Out of that.
Yeah, I'd watch it.
Michael Keaton as the dad. Oh.
I don't think I'd like it. I'm going to be honest right now.
No,
I don't think I'll come out of it being like, that was good. But I would watch it.
I feel like I'd come out of it disappointed. But then I'd buy it on DVD anyway.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I don't know why I haven't got the Meg yet.
You don't own the Meg. Did you not like steel box that as soon as you left the cinema?
I should have. I mean, I loved it. It was like, cancel cinema. It's done. We've reached the peak.
They did. 2020. They went, you know what? Fuck cinema. We're gonna. Everyone should just go re-home and
cancel everything.
What was the last film which came out in 2019? I'm trying to think. Like,
what kind of films? I saw films this year.
Okay, I haven't been to cinema in a very long time. I'm just saying.
Well, it was like 1917 was out, and Emma came out just before, and Parasite was a little earlier, but then it sort of kept rolling out because of the Oscars.
Okay.
There was like, forgotten them all, but there was a couple of things that came out for like 2 days, and then all the cinemas closed.
Well, that's got to be a terrible release. Well, I mean, I'm trying to think like what we solved during this podcast, if we've solved anything.
Ghosts aren't real.
Ghosts aren't real.
But their power is.
I don't even know what that means. The power of ghosts is real, but ghosts aren't real.
I, as a living entity, will never have as much draw, mysticism, or attract enough interest from people as much as ghosts, which do not exist, do.
Okay.
I will always be playing second fiddle to ghosts. Okay.
I feel like I'll never play second fiddle to ghosts until it's my ghost.
Okay.
And then someone's betraying me in the film about me haunting somebody. And then
you'll be like, that is the pinnacle of me.
That is the pinnacle.
Someone else betraying my ghost.
Nobody put together the speed model. Don't finish paying Keanu Reeves. I need to be here forever. Philip Seymour Hoffman's ghost is playing me in the film. It's going to be great.
Again, I would watch it. I don't think I would like it.
That's the title of the podcast. Right there.
There we go.
Either way, Jack, it's been lovely to talk to you.
That's been very nice.
Gonna round
It's
this
been
out.
nice seeing you, Graham.
It's been nice to see you in these crazy times.
Yeah.
These mad crazy times.
Are you all like? Are you okay? Is everything okay?
Am I ever okay, Jack?
Well, okay. Well, yeah. You have to tell that.
You've
Right?
read my book.
You could have just said yes. Well, that's very true.
I feel like me saying I'm okay is like it's the most obvious lie ever.
Yeah.
Because you can meet me and you'll be like, yeah, this guy's fine. You know, me and chatted to him, and then you have an actual conversation with me, and you look at all my artwork, and you're like, actually, no, he's just great at pretending.
You're right. Okay. Maybe I should ask like,
Am I
are you
comfortable?
feeling all right?
Yeah. Actually,
There's
today
no
I'm
way
really
of phrasing
tired.
it.
I'm lying already. I'm really tired today. Yeah.
You didn't seem it. You were animated and wonderful.
Because I'm great at pretending.
Fair enough.
On that bombshell, we'll round it out, Jack.
Cool.
Okay. We'll talk to these guys later. I'm going to click stop recording.
Nice.
Bye.